So normally we never start our videos off at the bottom of the tree. It's usually up in the platform. And I climbed back down a little bit ago. One, because it's more daylight. And two, I've been up there reflecting, which is never good for me to reflect. And I want to start the video from here. And the reason why is, Dr. Mitchell and I have talked about this for years. Just because we know a few tricks, maybe had some unusual experiences, have a lot of resources at our fingertips. People seem to think that maybe all of our days are perfect, and they're not. I've been struggling all day. And I'll cover that more when we get to the top. But on a day like today, when I walk up to this particular tree stand, I haven't done a video from this stand, I look up and it's only 20 feet, and it seems like 800 feet. And every one of them little things that I put my hands on, it feels like I just don't even have the energy to pull myself up there. So this is a raw and real video, because they're not all perfect days here in my world out here. They're not. I try to give you that because most of them are, and I want to give you hope, and I don't want to suck you down in some dark freaking hole. So I'm going to show you what it looks like from down here, and then we'll finish the video up there. Hang on. So that's the base of the tree. That's my little safety rope I hook onto there on the right. And then there you go. It's only 20 feet. But today, one of them days, seems like 800. Hang on. Well, it's been several hours since I climbed back up in the tree. You can tell it's cold because I'm covering my ears. I don't really like anything touching my ears, especially my hair. But I've been trying to let it warm up. We got a really strong wind. I mean, it's brutal. So I got the sun on this side and I got the wind on that side. And I feel like a hunk of meat on top of like a campfire, and I'll rotate. So I'll like warm this shoulder up, and then I'll turn this way and, keep flipping back and forth. The high today is 40. Tomorrow or tonight, it's supposed to be like 25. That's crazy for South Georgia. And anyway, so kind of grumpy. So why is a 20-foot climb feel like 800 feet today? And I'll explain that to the best of my ability. When we're younger, our ability to do the right thing, I honestly don't think it's that difficult, provided we have good parents, good teachers. We're guided on the right and wrong, the gray areas, and the morals and values, and it's kind of instilled in us, or it should be. And we're going to slip up as kids and stand at the grocery store and grab a piece of candy because we're like, well, hell, it's right there. We should just grab it. I mean, you don't realize you got to pay for it, but you figure it out. And then as you mature, don't matter who you go to work for, they're going to teach you. I always thought it was funny, you're in your 20s or something, and you got to take a class on ethics, and a bunch of junk like that. I'm like, well, if you ain't figured it out now, it's probably too damn late. But either way, it's one of them things that you got to, check the box. The struggle that I see a lot of times as we age is we want to do the right thing. And it's not like it's a policy, and I'm not talking about, should we pay our taxes? Not those kind of right things. It's the right thing that generally are matters of the heart, matters of the soul, matters of the emotion. And a lot of us are fixers, and we want to fix things. And then you kind of layer that, and then you layer that you want to do the right thing. And then we fall into obligation. And I've written about the many different emotions that get involved with things, and guilt. And so we look at, wanting to help people, fix them. And we stay engaged in that because it's just the right thing to do. And then you reach that point that you realize that it's potentially a toxic. That's my word today, is toxic. It's a toxic situation. How do we describe toxic? And I've been thinking about that for hours as I keep rotating this hunk of meat over a campfire. If you take a big old glass that just gets slammed full, I mean, you filled it up too high on the kitchen table, or whatever table you want, and then somehow you knock it over, and it runs across the top of that table. And it gets soaked up by a couple of them mats that you put under your plate. And I've never understood that damn crap. I'll be honest with you right there. I don't get that. You can't wipe them down. I guess you throw them away or wash them. I don't know. But anyway, it soaks it up. And then you're panicking. And you're like going, crap, where's it going? And then you see it heading for the edge. And you don't ever want it to go over the edge. Because once it goes over the edge, it might hit the carpet. You don't know where it's going to go. And you're scrambling. And you're grabbing towels. And you're grabbing all kinds of junk. And why do I know all this in great detail? Because it literally just happened to me the other day. And it was headed to go off this edge and then go behind the refrigerator. And I was like, damn, I don't really want that to happen. That's toxic. It sucks up everything around it, but it's still not happy, and it's got to search out for more and more and more. I struggle today because I'm trying to help someone. And I kind of knew going into it that there wasn't much to work with. But I want to do the right thing. I want to be able to sleep at night. I want to honor this person because I should honor them. But it's toxic. It just is. Why does it wear on me? Because my glass spilled last night, and it went to my two boys, or our two boys, and went to my wife. Probably got a little bit on the baby. And that's when here it comes. And that's when it really starts to sink in, is that it's toxic. We can't contain it. We can't contain it in here. When do we know that the glass is too full? There's two things. Some of you may not relate to this at all. For a guy like me, it's when I get in this tree and I can't get it out of my head. That's when it becomes toxic. Another time for me, and we call it tractor time. And I'm not talking about an enclosed tractor, GPS, AC, all that stuff. I'm talking about an open cab tractor where you can smell the diesel, you can hear the engine. When you get on a tractor, and I call it tractor time, and it's in your head, whatever that situation is, that's toxic. That's not good. And I had a friend of mine several months ago asked me that question. He said, when you get on the tractor, does it get inside your head? I said, yeah, it does. And he said, that's not good. It's too bad, a little sidebar here, but it's too bad in our society that more people that are in the profession, therapists, counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists, whatever, mental health professionals, let's call them that. It's too bad that they don't have a 40-acre tract of land behind their office. And you can take a fella or a lady, learn them how to drive a tractor, flip some dirt over, spin up some field, cut hay, don't matter. That would be some therapy. And it really does work. For me, I sit here today and I struggle because it was hard to climb up this tree because I'm done in so many ways. But I still want to do the right thing. we get ourselves into situations with family and friends a lot of times, or we just meet someone and we can see, we're like, man, they just need a hand. And then the hand becomes the other hand, and then it becomes a foot, a leg, and the next thing you know, they got a hold of your soul, and they just pull you right down into that vortex. And then your glass fills up, and it teeter-totters and teeter-totters, and then it falls over, and everything that you're trying to protect and love gets hit by that toxic. That's pretty much it. So how do we know when to say when? I think we know. We just get hung up on the idea that we got to do the right thing. So I don't have an answer for you. So what's the point of the video? My wife asked me questions like that a lot of times when we did the fourth book. She said, "Do you have an answer?" And I said, "No, I don't have an answer." I said, "But the point of the book is, if it keeps one person from taking their own life, then it's a good book. And if they can see the struggles that I've gone through and realize that a crazy squirrel like me can make it to the other side, then maybe they'll make it to the other side." The point of the video, down to dirty and simple, is even a guy like me has days where it's hard to climb up a tree. But I climb it anyway. That's my message. What am I going to do about my situation? I don't have a clue. I just keep hoping and praying that it will get better. I keep hoping and praying that I have the strength. But I can tell you, nights like last night, that's when I start drawing the line. In any situation, any relationship, any work, anything you do, you got to have boundaries. It's plain and simple. They will line in the sand. We all got them. So you need to set your boundaries up, and when you reach that point that glass knocks over, and it goes way past all them placemats, and it goes outside of your house, and it's affecting everything and everyone that you come near, and now you toxic, yeah, it's time to pull the pin. What's the right thing to do then? Take care of the ones in your circle. That's my message. I'm gonna buzz you around. Actually, not much to look at. We've done a video from a different stand, but that's our section we just burnt. It was actually going to get planted in Little Pines last week, but it ain't happening yet. And you think, well, man, there ain't much to look at. There really isn't. Back that way is the swamp. There's actually a creek right down there. And this is the way you want to face if you want to get sunny side up. Hang on. So who am I today? I'm a guy that's struggling, plain and simple. And I could say it with a little bit of kick in my step. Struggling's all part of the program. But again, you gotta have boundaries all the way around. And we get hung up in doing the right thing. And again, we're not talking about stealing something or whatever. We're just talking about being a decent human being. But sometimes, is no matter how good of a human being you are, whoever you're trying to help, there just ain't much to work with. And you just got to figure out when to pull the pin. But even though I do struggle today, I embrace that. That's part of the growth, part of the reflection. One of the hardest parts for me when it comes to TV land out there, I don't like the negative energy. I don't watch the news. When I open my phone up, these headlight things or something, and I'll see a brief. I'm like, oh, hell no. I got enough junk in my head. I don't need no more junk. And the last thing I want to do as a guy who's trying to help people is put negative energy out to the world. But this is just realistic energy, just life. A lot of what I hear and see, and I watch very little TV. But if I'm buzzing through the house doing something, and the oldest boy, he likes those podcast things, and I think some of them are pretty cool and they're very educational. But then I see the negative energy, and I don't want no part of that. So please understand that this video was not intended to be negative. It wasn't at all. It's just being realistic. And I think it's important for people out there in TV land to understand, even a squirrel like me has a jacked up day. I do. You know? And maybe that's something that people can relate with. Because that's the point, really. We're all trying to relate with somebody and realize that we're not alone. So with that being said, I gotta shut my pie hole, get back to spinning on my rotisserie, and I gotta warm up this side now. Y'all have a great day.